Not gonna lie, I wasn't in a rush to do this movie review at first. Like, I was gonna watch the movie, take my time, eventually get to it like 2 years later or what have you, but there's been so much discourse lately and so many people complaining that I thought that, alright, now I'm starting to get under my skin a little bit. I gotta say something.
Who knows if you live or die? Let's fucking go!
Let's fucking go.
And today we have Deadpool and Wolverine. And normally I don't bother doing Marvel movie reviews anyway. Typically they're my least viewed movie reviews. All I'm doing is adding my 2 cents to the growing pile of similar quips, quotes, and reviews and whatnot, but I don't know. I have more people on my channel now than I ever have, so perhaps things will change. I was looking forward to seeing this, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not one of those big, like, Deadpool head fans or whatever where I have 70 different Deadpool pops and all the shirts and I'm like, yeah, chimichangas, oh man. Doing the cosplay, which more power to you if you do that. I don't love the character of Deadpool, but I really enjoy him. The whole fourth wall breaking, audience acknowledging, inside-outside jokes and all that. And I was a fan of the 2 previous films, and of course, Ryan Reynolds, one of America's sweethearts. It's like Keanu. It's hard to hate him. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's start from the top here. I didn't realize this till I was doing a little bit of light research for this film. Each Deadpool film has had a different director. Deadpool, just the first one, was directed by Tim Miller. Deadpool 2 was directed by David Leitch. And then, now here we are with Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean, you can call it Deadpool 3, but I kind of like that they changed it up a little bit. Directed by Sean Levy, or Levy? I think it's Levy. Director, though he may be, a big producer in Hollywood, more so he is. I have covered him on my channel before when I reviewed Free Guy a while ago, as well as such other, mostly critically acclaimed films, question mark, but he's directed Real Steel, Date Night, Night at the Museum, hefty, like, blockbuster filmographies. And then, of course, star power, we have Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, iconic, him and the stunt team, of course. And then you have the iconic Wolverine as Hugh Jackman. And funny enough, I always say this, because I gotta preface this before we go into the review. I've watched I think every Marvel film, with the exception being I've never seen Thor 2, and I still need to watch season 2 of Loki. All that I'm trying to say is that when it comes to X-Men, I've never watched any of the X-Men films except for Logan. And I loved Logan. I think it's a masterpiece. And for me, until this, Logan was the only experience I ever had with Wolverine. And from what I had heard tell of him in the comics and as a character, I thought it was spot on, seemed very fitting. I enjoyed that, and it was a very nice, brutal swan song for the character. Are we pissing on Logan's legacy and digging up the character? Some have argued yes. The movie quite literally acknowledges that, and then I think the fact that it's still rated R, and I feel like they don't nerf the characters so much. Anyway, Deadpool and Wolverine. Yes, it's the 3rd installment in the Deadpool franchise, which is a multi-million, if not at this point, billion-dollar machine. People love Deadpool. People think, funny character, hilarious, awesome, bloody, gory, R-rated good time, always. I'm not gonna go too much into the plot. I mean, if I went into too much of it, it would literally spoil the movie. I don't want to do that. I'm just gonna talk in vague terms like I always do. But all you gotta know is that Deadpool's on a quest to try to, save his friends, the world, his universe, and in doing so, for one reason or another, he needs to enlist the help of Wolverine. And of course, it's that type of odd couple dynamic where you have the comedic element, the comedy man, and the straight man. So, of course, chemistry and hijinks will ensue from there. I know I said I wasn't going to go too far into the cast, but Matthew McFadden, we love him, and every time I saw the trailer and saw he was in this, I'm like, oh, Tom, Succession, and nobody knew what I was talking about. So he basically plays Tom again, but more like sci-fi slapstick Tom Wamsgans, so I just thought it was funny. The top note that I put on this was, boy, howdy did I have fun. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a super fun, entertaining, violent, oftentimes hilarious time. I've enjoyed the Deadpool movies so far. I have them on my shelf right behind me. Are they perfection? No, but they're consistently entertaining, sometimes offering you spectacle, a lot of deep cuts and references. It's self-aware and acknowledges the audience, the camera, etc., which makes it stand out a little bit from films that come out these days. The constant wink, wink, nudge, nudge to the audience, acknowledging what they're watching, even if it's just for money in for like as a commercial endeavor. I do also appreciate that. I think everybody at Marvel and the CEOs and Disney, everybody's aware Marvel is at a bit of a low point right now. They have a big opportunity to course correct and try to get back to delivering to us quality over quantity, and also maybe to break out of the box they've kind of put themselves in. So that being said, you can really tell they're trying to get butts in seats on this one. I cannot recall the last time I have seen this much marketing for a film. I've been bombarded by trailers for films in the past. I've seen crossover deals, I've seen sponsorships, whether it's literally Stranger Things creating the fictitious ice cream shop Scoops Ahoy by literally incorporating the real life IP of Baskin Robbins. Like we've seen crazy brand deals, sponsorships, looking at you, Kojima and Monster. I don't know if you'd call it egregious per se. Whether it's Heineken beer made out of Wolverine's adamantium, Xbox making booty controllers, popcorn buckets trying to catch the wave ever since Dune released their Wormusy popcorn buckets. Hugh and Ryan have been like on it, like the junket to end all junkets. And whether it's literally them in the kitchen with Gordon and Tilly Ramsey, or the more iconic one right now, being interviewed on Hot Ones with Sean Evans. I think the record is like it's the third highest R-rated opening of all time. Like this movie is grossing a lot of money. I just thought it was crazy and impressive. But for the actual film itself, Wolverine and Deadpool, I am not a comic book reader. Growing up, it was just movies, TVs. I read books, sure, but I don't know what it was. I just never got exposed to the world of comic books, never got into them. That being said, I've heard tell that Deadpool and Wolverine, similar to Deadpool and Cable, are one of those fun, like, comedy guy, straight guy, iconic duos. We've seen the formula time and time again. Of course, the actors and the characters, they have on-screen chemistry that's great, if not a tad bit repetitive. It's an R-rated film. It's a Deadpool film. The action, of course, is going to be fun, violent, and frenetic. I checked it out. The budget for this is $200 million, which I think is the highest budget for a Deadpool movie so far. So of course they're gonna have all the extra funding and resources to like really go all in with the effects, the action, the violence, the spectacle, etc., etc. Although it doesn't appeal to me 100%, I actually really did truly appreciate it. Funny enough, it's also a con for a lot of people, but the note that I put was lots of love to X-Men, like the X-Men universe and all that, and the quote graveyard of like Fox properties essentially. I've not watched any of the X-Men films, so I'm aware of characters and some stuff. But that being said, all the characters that show up in this movie, all the references made therein, I thought they were fun. I liked them. It was cool seeing these characters. I was aware of their existence. But really, I think I fed empathically off of The Room. I was in a nearly sold out IMAX showing. It's funny how respectful people are in movies like this, because they're very like reactive to what's on screen, of course, as Marvel often will prompt us to be. But everybody was so invested and interested. I didn't see a single cell phone pop out. Nobody was talking or murmuring. We were all having a fun, respectful, superhero comic book time, and I fed off of that energy. I felt great. My heart was there and full for all the people that have wanted to see these X-Men characters and properties acknowledged or brought back or represented in some way or another. I felt the appreciation there, so I really enjoyed that aspect of the experience. And of course, I enjoyed all the fourth wall meta humor.
Pegging isn't new for me, friendo, but it is for Disney.
Even if it was ill-intentioned, plenty of jokes about Fox, about Disney, about the acquisition, about these characters. So let's get to the cons. I'm seeing a surprising amount of people complaining about this movie. Like, what? I mean, I get it, sure, like no movie's perfect, but the most common complaints that I'm hearing are about narrative and cameos. I'm hearing people say, oh, there is not really a story. What? Like, where are these complaints when Fury Road came out, right? Mad Max Fury Road is literally a group of people that travel from one place to another and go back. And technically, if you want to be reductive about it,
That's the story. That's all there is.
Deadpool and Wolverine, you could say, oh, you know, A and B team up, and they gotta go do this, so they go do that, and then by the end they go and do this. I mean, yeah, I guess if you want to be super reductive about it, but like, are you kidding me? What I've liked about the Deadpool movies, including this one, is it's that defense mechanism of sarcasm and humor, which is of course what Deadpool, the character of Wade Wilson, is known for. We don't just stay with Deadpool for the whole movie, any hack slash funny little Marvel quip and then dashes out of the room. He's driven first by selfish reasons and then kind of has a little bit of a character arc and kind of comes around to what it truly means to be a superhero. Like that, there is a character arc. There's plenty of emotional moments. I got misty eyed a couple times. I mean, Hugh Jackman's a great actor, just in general, so that probably explains half of it. But to go as far as to say that Deadpool and Wolverine didn't have a story, as if this movie doesn't work on like a foundational, fundamental level, not only is it reductive, but I think it's a little much going that far. Like, it's not an Oscar-winning production here, but like also it's not, you know, it's not poo-poo. It's not, there is a story. There are characters. There are character moments. They have arcs, like they're able to incorporate. Are they the strongest? Maybe not, but they're there. It still felt like Deadpool to me. But the other biggest complaint that I heard, aside from lack of story, was that too many cameos. Somebody even equated it to like a WWE wrestling match in one review that I saw, where it's all these returning characters coming for a little brief bit of limelight. Yeah. To an extent, I can kind of agree, and I'd be a bit of a hypocrite if I didn't point out the fact that I literally did dock points from both Maxine as well as Kinds of Kindness for their large cast of actors utilized but not fully fleshed out and developed. And the pro of it is that we see a lot of iconic X-Men characters, we see a lot of cameos. I think they're all used in ways that either make sense for the story, help propel the narrative forward, are funny, even if it's a bit of a throwaway. Like, it is Cameo City, but I don't think it was just pointless Cameo City. We're also multiverse hopping because Marvel can't stop doing that. And like, I like the multiverse. I like the different variations and all that. It's the nature of the comic books. There's a lot of shit in the comic books, in the world. And people loved it when they opened the door for it, but now people are getting upsetty spaghetti when the multiverse is being utilized and drawn from for a variety of movies and properties. I'm like, so you want your cake, but you don't want to eat it too? Like, I don't get what's going on here. Like, look, that's the main argument that I wanted to kind of address, was that people are claiming that there's no story there.
I disagree.
There is a story. Is it the strongest story in the entire MCU? Certainly and obviously not. It's a fucking Deadpool movie. What did you expect? I'm surprised people are going into a Deadpool movie and saying,
man, oh man, this movie didn't take itself very seriously. It felt like it was all jokes and comedy and a bunch of cameos. And I'm like,
what did you think was gonna happen? I think this film had a surprising amount of character moments and a surprising amount of emotional moments between Deadpool and Wolverine or on their own, etc., etc. Slightly shattered my expectation for what I was going to expect going into this movie. And I'm not trying to be an apologist either. Like, it's not a perfect film. I really enjoyed it and I loved some moments of it, but I didn't adore the film. But to suggest that it's like, oh, like, no, it was pretty bad, pretty unenjoyable. I'm like, okay, bro, like, fine, I guess. It's not perfect, but it does kind of break that mold a little bit from what Marvel has been cranking out for so long. Something that'll broaden the scope more, have more violence, have more characters, have more impact on the MCU as a whole, to the point where, as you've seen in the trailer, Deadpool refers to himself as
Marvel Jesus.
I think it's really good with some moments in it that I loved. I've got some earworms stuck in my head for the past week.
Call my name, it's like a little prayer. I can take you there.
Are there too many cameos? One could, as they have, attempt to make an argument saying as such. It's purposefully designed and meant to be that way. Like, Marvel's always had cameos in general, and contextually it all makes sense, and I don't really have any complaints in that regard. I would feel confident in giving Deadpool and Wolverine a very rock-solid 4 out of 5. A solid 4 out of 5. A lot of those recently, but I mean, yeah, I have some minor complaints about the film, and I didn't love the entire experience. It is a comic book film, so it's kind of made for comic book film fans, but at the same time, I think if it existed in a vacuum and you had no outside knowledge of anything else in comics or the MCU. I mean, yeah, you'd be scratching your head a lot and you'd be wondering who the hell are all these people. I think it's still a watchable, enjoyable film, but admittedly, the nature of it is, like, you do have to have a certain amount of knowledge in pop culture to really let a lot of these jokes and references land. That's all I gotta say about Deadpool and Wolverine. This video is way too long. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next movie review that I do. And goodbye, travelers.